I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. And since this is the first week of September, I want to wish you a happy Labor Day, but I also want to tell you, if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, that the title of tonight's show is On Solid Ground. And the reason why, as we begin this month, you may be thinking a lot more about how to be on solid ground is because there are a lot of things happening in the month of September, and it is going to be getting off to a good start if the present planets are any indication. But there are going to be 2 eclipses in September, there will be planets changing direction, and they'll be changing signs as well. So we are heading into a different kind of year right now as we make a change right now from the emphasis that has been holding most of the year on fire signs. Remember, there's been a grand trine in fire signs, and that can denote quick moves or quick fixes or hasty reactions to things. And I think that's over for right now. And instead, there is an emphasis on the earth signs. And that's because there are 4 wonderful planets all trining each other among the earth signs today. And that's why the month can be getting off to a good start. The Sun and Jupiter are both in Virgo, and Virgo rules the traditional 6th house of work and employment, your health, both your physical health and your mental health, and it is a sign that rules service to others. So it rules professions such as nursing and teaching and accounting, and all public servants, so it can be ruling firemen and policemen or anybody that wants to help other people out. And Virgo is a modest sign, and so Virgo's main aim is for perfection, so they never think that they're good enough, but they actually are very dutiful and reliable. And so the emphasis is on good time management and on accountability and on being productive, perhaps within reduced budgets right now, because you might have to make your budget really stretch a lot farther this fall, but you could probably do that since Jupiter is a wonderful planet and it is in Virgo, which rules common sense and logic. So you don't have to get fancy about problem solving this fall. You can simply think about what is the easiest and most common sense thing to do and do that instead of getting real complicated or moving too quickly. Because those 2 planets in Virgo are trining the exalted moon in Taurus today. Taurus is a fixed financial sign, and it rules commercial real estate, really expensive property, and it rules fine art and really good gourmet food because Venus is the ruler of Taurus, and it also rules our investments. And so Taurus is a very hard worker, and they like to sort of spend money to make their lives comfortable, or they want to provide well for their loved ones. Taurus rules the New York Stock Exchange, it rules the country of Germany and of Israel as well. Those 3 planets, the exalted moon in Taurus and the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo, are trining Pluto in Capricorn, which will go direct later on. And so Pluto rules strong management now that can be in government organizations or corporations, and it also rules having very high standards and a lot of experience based on time-honored business methods. And so we don't need to get flashy or fancy for the rest of the year. We really need to emphasize being on solid ground through your investments, through being productive at work, or from gaining a lot more experience in the business area or in the government area, so that there can be a lot of trust built up, because we've been a little lacking in that, and people have been a little bit deceptive and maybe acting a little too quickly or taking a lot of gambles earlier in the year. But that is not how we're going to get through the rest of the year. And so right now we have to operate on solid ground if we can. For some people, the party's over though, and that is because Venus and Mars are in Leo, which does rule gambling and love affairs, and Mars is a sort of a dynamic, passionate, and somewhat jealous or greedy planet. And so there can even be a lot of passionate activities going on, some of which could be a little bit brutal since Mars does world war as well. But those 2 planets are being squared harshly by Saturn in Scorpio, which is at the 29th degree. Later on this month, it will go into Sagittarius, where it will stay for a couple of years. But for right now, since Scorpio is a fixed financial sign, and those two planets in Leo are squaring both financial signs, the exalted moon in Taurus and Saturn in Scorpio. And that is why if you have been a person who has been gambling, it's all over now. Or it can be that jealous competitors can be causing quite a bit of trouble, or gamblers with big egos could stand to lose both stature and income right now. And that is because their time is up, or there isn't enough money around to paper over something right now. And that's because there aren't any quick fixes anymore. And that's because there isn't enough of an emphasis in fire signs. All right, what does this idea of on solid ground mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, Uranus is in your sign, but it is going backwards. And yet you have a very good planet ahead of your sun sign, and that is the exalted moon in Taurus. So you might have your mind on something a little bit pricey right now. Or it can be that you are deciding that you do need to update your skills, and that is because Uranus rules technology. And since it is retrograde right now, you may be discovering, or your employer might be discovering, that you do not have enough skills to go forward in the future according to the company's plans. And for that reason, you may have to backtrack a little bit and get additional training right now. Or you may decide to go back to a former employer, and if you want to just plain be comfortable and do a good job, you could do that instead, and maybe you wouldn't have to update your skills. So I think that this is a time, if you want to be on solid ground, it might be because you want to move, or you want to buy something a little bit pricey that increases your stature. That would be fine. But actually the emphasis is not on the dynamic energy in the fire signs. And so you're going to have to change the way you work, Aries, and you're going to have to settle down to just what makes good common sense and be a lot more reliable in your job. Probably you are going to have to go along with the dictates of stronger management now, because Pluto in Capricorn is squaring your sun, and Pluto is about to go direct, which means that stronger management has higher standards, and they may want you to follow along with time-honored business methods. This is not the way an Aries works. An Aries wants to be a pioneer. So you may be uncomfortable where you are and want to consider going back to somewhere else where you were more comfortable, and that is a very good idea. And so, don't spend all your money on something pricey, because you may want to make a move or a career change that is a little bit more comfortable for you, and I urge you to do that. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, you can really want to be on solid ground, and that is because there may have been some problems over the summer with a lover or with children, or you may have taken a little gamble on something, and now that you have a chance to review everything, you may be deciding, uh-oh, I've got to pay up on something. Or you may just decide that some change that you made sometime over the summer is not paying out the way you thought it would, and you may want to get on more solid ground. And you have a very good chance of doing that, Taurus, because the exalted moon in your sign is being trined by the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo, and also by Pluto in Capricorn. So one side effect of getting a lot more serious about who you love and how much you want to spend on them is that you may decide that your comfort is worth something as well, and management can be looking favorably upon you. And the reason why is that Pluto is trining your sun sign. But you yourself can be looking at how to improve now, some sort of self-improvement. And that is because the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo do rule that. And by careful analysis of a health matter, you could improve your health, or you could improve your mental attitude, or you could get real practical about how to change some financial shortfall and pay for that by being a little bit more frugal or cutting down on your budget in one way or another. And you would be very successful at that right now, Taurus. So I think if you need to make small adjustments, you can do that, and that would help put you on more solid ground. And you would be very successful at that, so I hope you give it a try. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, that exalted moon in Taurus is right behind your sun sign, and that means that you could have your mind on something a little bit pricey or a good investment, but that would be behind the scenes. Or you may want to improve your home, or you may want to trade in one car and get a better one. And all of that is quite possible because of this grand trine in the earth signs. Anything that is approaching practical reality or problem solving is really going to work out for everyone right now. But also you can be really good at communicating now because Mercury in Libra is trining your sun sign, Gemini. So if you were, since your sun sign rules buying and selling, if you were negotiating a deal or wanting to reach some sort of compromise, you could get a little bit of help from that, or you could get some good legal advice right now, and that may very favorably affect your future. So I think that it's all systems go right now, Gemini, as long as you're very careful to check the facts. And the reason why is that Neptune in Pisces, which rules deception, is squaring your sun, so not everyone is telling you everything. And the Sun and Jupiter, which are very well fortified in Virgo right now, are also squaring your sun, and that is an indication that you really have to be very careful about your facts and not overestimate something. In other words, since Jupiter is squaring your sun sign for a whole year, it'll be in Virgo for a year, you could be a little bit, you could have a problem with keeping deadlines. So you need to make sure that you don't promise more than you can really deliver for the whole year, Gemini, because if you make a promise that you can't really keep or that you don't intend to keep, you could be somewhat punished for that or ridiculed for that. So you need to be a little bit careful and slow down when you can. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, a Cancer, this is a time when everyone wants to be on solid ground, and that is because, you know, we've got to get through the fall and the winter, and we need to be prepared for problems that we really can solve, and we need to solve them not with a whole bunch of money, but with good common sense and logic. And so the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo, which rules logic and service to others and problem solving, are sextiling your sun, which is good. That can give you an opportunity to tackle some problems and solve them somewhat easily right now just by using common sense. And also the moon in Taurus is sextiling your sun, and it is exalted, and it is your own ruler, Cancer. So this may be a time when you really are thinking about a move, and it can be a move to somewhere that is more comfortable for you. You may be thinking about downsizing, but you could probably get a pretty good price if you already own property, and then you could invest it more wisely according to your reduced needs. Perhaps your family has grown up, or perhaps you are just in a different situation right now, and you don't need quite as much room as you have. Excuse me. So this is a time when you may want to delegate responsibility to other people, or you may want to downsize, or you may possibly, excuse me, I'm sorry, I almost sneezed. You may possibly want to make a dream come true and have the money to do that, because Saturn is in Scorpio trining your sun along with Neptune in Pisces. So I think that you're going to turn now, Cancer, away from more business concerns and into personal problems or personal desires or dreams of yours that you really can put forward now and work on little by little to solve them. And that will put you on more solid ground financially and emotionally. So I think it's your happiness that really matters right now. And I think you're ready to give something up, Cancer. And if you do decide to give it up, then that'll be just fine, because you'll have something even better to replace it that will make you happier. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, remember I said Mars and Venus are in your sign, and they are very tightly conjuncting each other, and that Mars is a dynamic planet. And so it can indicate jealous competitors or gamblers with big egos who can possibly lose stature and income right now, because Saturn is at 29 degrees of Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, and is squaring your sun. And the exalted moon in Taurus today is also squaring your sun. And so I think that you have to face the reality of where the money is coming from and where it's going to, and make sure that you can still get your hands on some of it, Leo. Your sign is the sign of extravagance. This is not the time to go overboard at all, because either your credit is a little bit stretched right now, or there can be some additional taxes you have to pay, or it just means that you may need to save more money. You really can get into a little more economical mode right now and for the rest of the year, because the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo are right ahead of your sun sign. So if you need to sort of shave a few things in your budget in order to pay off bills and perhaps put yourself in a little more solid ground by Christmas time, you could do it, Leo. You just have to be a lot more practical right now, because financial needs are pressing in on you. And those are the things that you've got to face right now. And if you can't pay off everything, you at least need to do something little by little to satisfy your creditors, which I think you can do. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, you certainly are on solid ground, and that's because the Sun and Jupiter are conjuncting in your sun sign, and they are beautifully trined by the exalted moon in Taurus, which means an investment could be worth a lot more than you thought it would be, and that can please you. And also Pluto in Capricorn is trining the Sun and Jupiter in your sign, which means that stronger management can really like the way you work, Virgo, and they can particularly rely on your problem-solving ability, maybe because they have a lot of problems, and somebody's got to do that work at tearing apart a problem and really seeing what the root issue is and trying to correct that instead. And you are exceptionally good at that, Virgo. So this is not a time when people can be happy with a quick fix. That's all over. And now what they want is they want problems solved, even if they can only be solved in a small and slow and deliberate way. But that is where you excel, Virgo. So that's why I think you are on very solid ground, and that will continue for a whole year. Lucky you. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, Mercury is still in your sign, which is wonderful, and that simply means that you can negotiate right now. You could pick up additional partners, even if they're only part-time partners. They would be quite agreeable to whatever your ideas are, and you can have some pretty brilliant ideas right now, Libra. They may be artistic, since your sign does rule art, but they could also involve diplomacy and negotiation and compromise and peacemaking, because you are excellent at all of that. So you may turn out to be an intermediary in between other people who are really having a bad time right now, and they need a calm voice, and it could be yours, Libra. So I urge you to take on anything that will make you shine right now, because I think you can. And your increased communication skills can put you in a new position in your future. That's why I think you need to go forward. So don't look back right now, Libra. Just go straight forward and try to reach out and touch and communicate, because you know, you really could pick up some equally nice partners or good opportunities. Even if they're part-time, they would be excellent and you would shine. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, remember I said that Saturn is in your sign and it is opposing the exalted moon in Taurus right now. And since Saturn is at the 29th degree of Scorpio, it is exactly opposing the 29th degree of Taurus, where there is a blind star. And so that means that other people have been a little bit blind about some sort of the value of an investment, or the amount of hard work that they have to do in order to earn good money, or they can simply be blind to something that has to do with a love affair, or they can have been gambling too much. And you are not in a mood to put up with that, because Saturn is at the 29th degree in your sign. So I don't think, since Saturn represents authority figures and the moon represents women and mothers, I don't think that these two factions are seeing eye to eye right now about financial affairs. But I don't think that you're going to bend at all right now, Scorpio. Neptune in Pisces is trining your sun, so it is fortified. And I think that you are sort of at the end of a period of time that represents being very serious and perhaps even depressed and tired. and that's the effect that Saturn has when it's in your sun sign. But if you have been saving at the same time for the last 2 or 3 years, then you financially are very well prepared to go forward little by little with a lot of experience and probably make a dream come true, or at least make more money. You could invest wisely right now. What could be troubling you are relationships, and that is because Mars and Venus and Leo are squaring your sun sign. And when Venus and Saturn square or oppose each other, that can indicate a betrayal. And so you may be ready to end something. And it could be a relationship, or it could be some sort of financial relationship, or it could be a career matter, and that is because financially you are probably pretty well prepared to go in a new direction. So I wish you the best of luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Well, Sagittarius, you too have to get on solid ground, and I don't think that has been on your mind much this year because there's been such an excellent grand trine in fire signs. But that has changed now. There aren't very many planets in fire signs. In fact, there's only 3, and 2 of them are retrograde, the love planets. So you do need to reconsider exactly where you are right now and try to get on more solid ground, Sagittarius. And I urge you not to be frivolous about how you spend your time at all. The party's over, Sagittarius, and so is the fun. And that is because Neptune in Pisces is squaring your sun, which means people have not been telling you the whole truth, or you've been kidding yourself about something, and you got to stop that because that would get real expensive in the future. And also the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo are squaring your sun, and that simply means that the facts and the details really count right now. You cannot avoid them any longer, Sagittarius, and the reason why you can't is because Saturn is about to come into your sun sign in another week, actually. It will be there, and it will be squaring the planets in Virgo and Neptune in Pisces. And that is when a heavy burden could come upon your shoulders, Sagittarius, and that's why you have to get really serious right now about trying to get on more solid ground, and that would be in your investments, in your work life, and in anything that regards your long-term security. So you need to sit down and have a quiet little talk with yourself, Sagittarius, because your life is about to change and get much more serious. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is an excellent time for you because being on solid ground is exactly what you like. Your sign rules security, and that is particularly true because it's ruled by Saturn, and Saturn rules long-term security, but it also rules the traditional 10th house of your career and your reputation in the community, and Saturn rules things that money can't buy, such as experience that you have to earn the hard way, or it rules trust. And so there can be a lot of that about you right now, Capricorn, because the exalted moon in Taurus trines your sun, which means people with money do like the way you work, and they may be deciding to invest in you. And so there can be some good money coming your way, or else one of your own investments is paying off, or you want to make a good investment right now, and you can probably afford that, Capricorn, so I think you should think about that. And the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo are trining your sun, which means that if you are careful about your health and you are able to pare down your costs and live on a more reduced budget, you can certainly be on solid ground for a long time to come. And so this is a very good way to start the rest of the year in a more practical vein. So I wish you the best of luck, Capricorn. And if there is a promotion possibility around anywhere, it might be you that gets it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, it's good that Mercury in Libra is trining your sun, because that means somebody can have some good tips for you, or there can be some sort of legal agreement that might come out all right, or a compromise that can be reached. And you do need that right now, Aquarius, because there are too many planets in fixed signs, and yours is a fixed sign. So Mars and Venus in Leo are opposing your sun sign, which means you can have some jealous competition, or people can want to go ahead and be leaders on their own and not include you. That's too bad. So there could be a betrayal. And Saturn in Scorpio, a fixed financial sign, it's squaring your sun, which means there won't be enough money coming in, at least not as much as you thought there would be, and that can put a crimp in your budget. And then the moon in Taurus is also squaring your sun, which I think means that something pricey is a little bit out of your reach. And so, you know, you might think about selling but not buying right now, Aquarius, because I think you need to get on firmer ground financially and in a relationship, although there is the possibility that a relationship can be over now. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, this is a time, once again, when I urge you that you have to bring those wonderful dreams and concepts and vision of yours down to earth. And that is because the emphasis for the rest of the year shifts now to more practical concerns that the earth signs are good about. They're good about facing reality. And you could, you know, you need to take a few tips from them. The exalted moon in Taurus is sextiling your sun, and Pluto in Capricorn is also sextiling your sun. So if you wanted to work on investments that can help assure your long-term security, there is the possibility, with the help of stronger management, that you could do that, Pisces. But the Sun and Jupiter in Virgo are opposing your sun sign where you have Neptune, which means you absolutely have to quit kidding yourself about a health matter. And you need to get serious about your health and try to improve it if you can, and that might take you a whole year, but you'll be a lot better off if you can do that, Pisces. So you can't just keep putting a health matter off. You got to sort of get rid of it little by little if you can. And then the details count, and having a timetable counts. And if you miss out on the details or the facts and you are not able to present them when you are asked, you could lose the chance of a lifetime. And that is because Jupiter will be opposing your sun sign for a year. And so you've really got to change the way you work, Pisces, and get down to earth and satisfy people who want nitty-gritty details, even if that's not your thing. That's the language you're going to have to be talking for another year, or you'll lose out on something wonderful. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show anytime you want by subscribing to it on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.